And now in this segment, we'll look at ijtihad, or independent reasoning. What is it and how can it be done and by whom? Well, to discuss that, we have our guest, Dr. Ramadan. Professor Ramadan, ijtihad, it's now even an English word, ijtihad. It's been bandied about so much, but hardly anyone seems to know what it means. Tell us, what does it mean?
Yes, I think that once again, I'm problematizing the concept in the book, because I really think that we have a very superficial understanding of what ijtihad is all about. When we speak about ijtihad, is referring to one hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he was saying Muaz ibn Jabal in Yemen, and he was asking about what are you going to rely. He said on the Quran and then on the prophetic tradition, and then he said, and what if there is no text and nothing? He said, Ajtahidu bi ra'yi wa la alu. I will come back, exert my own reasoning in order to find a solution. Knowing the text, yes, but having a silence here, I need to make up, to think, to create something which is in the line of the text, but when the text could be silent, for example. So there is two things that is important here, is that ijtihad, when the text is open for interpretation, we need the scholar to come and to say, okay, there are clear-cut texts, but there are texts that are dhanni. Dhanni meaning open for interpretation, no, not clear-cut, not definitive. So on this, we need a critical thinking in order to understand the text better and to have something which is going to, in the same line, in the same way, with the same vision. So this kind of ijtihad is when the text is here but open for interpretation. And there is another kind of ijtihad where in some new challenges, for example, there is no text about it, so we have to make our one. So from the very beginning, the scholars were understanding that there are two kinds of ijtihad on these two fields. Is ijtihad al-fardi, when a scholar is doing it on his own, or al-jama'i, so it's al-ijma'. So you have al-qiyas, is reasoning by analogy, so we don't drink alcohol, it's not good for our health. We'll do exactly the same reasoning when it comes with new things. Smoking, for example, it's not good, so we have, you know, by analogy, a reasoning, so what is called the qiyas. And then also al-ijma', so scholars are coming together, the text is silent, but they have the knowledge of the text, and they come with a new understanding for new challenges. So this is ijtihad ma'a an-nas, aw 'ala an-nas, aw bidun nas. So on the text, when the text is open, with the text, and with when there is no text. There is also something which is quite important on this that we have to say, is that we also need ijtihad when it comes to how do we deal with the reality, with the society, which are the strategies that we are going to use to implement this text on a specific environment. And this is very superficial in our understanding. Very often we dismiss this point, while we need these two ijtihads, in fact, to come together, a vision on the reality, an understanding of the text, to come with an applied ethics for our time, in our society, and for the people we are living with.
Traditionally, scholars had sought to limit over time the application of ijtihad to certain qualified individuals. And usually these were individuals who were long dead. It was almost thought impossible for new individuals to rise to that station of intellectual caliber or training in the Islamic sciences, or even the heightened spirituality that will convey a sense of respect for anything he says. Do you feel that even today we have people who can perform this task of ijtihad?
We have no choice. Anyway, we need to do it, and we need to. And we have the people. I think that historically we went through experiences that were problematic. The first one was for some scholars to idealize the scholars of the past. They did it all, and then they got all the answers, so we only have to follow what they said. And this is wrong. This is not Islamic. We do this with the only one that we respect, and we are not challenging his thoughts and his implementation, is the Prophet, peace be upon him. But all the other are human beings, and we have to take and to reject. Sometimes there are things that are good and things that are not so good or not adapted to our time. So we don't have to idealize the past. And second thing is that many people, and this is out of goodwill, they were protective, say, oh, we have to be very cautious now with new ideas, Muslims living in new situations. We have to close this because it's the only way to protect yourselves. You know this idea that on the defensive, you stick to some rules in order not to lose your identity or lose the essence of the religion. So I understand this. historically, but this is not the way. It could be a historical situation that you have to understand. Now, what we have to say, we have the scholars, we have the minds that are able to read the text, understand the meaning, and face the challenge of our time. But we also should be clear, ijtihad is a very serious matter. It's not for anyone to come to read the text and say, I'm going to do my own ijtihad. It's about science. So we need scholars knowing the text, having this overall understanding, this comprehensive approach, because ijtihad is all about this. So you have Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah coming with 13 conditions to be a mujtahid, so to be able to do this, mutlaq or muqayyad, so absolute or within a very specific school of thought. So he was coming with very high, conditions. And Ash-Shatibi was saying we need two things to understand the principles of the text that are dealing with ahkam rulings, and to understand the environment and halat al-nas, meaning the objectives of this to be what we want to achieve, and also the situation of the people. So he was synthesizing, in fact, the whole process, what we need. Today, we need exactly the same. But I really think that ijtihad now, we need scholars knowing the text, very, very clear on this, so a high level of knowledge. And at the same time, we need to bring on board Muslims and even sometimes non-Muslims on this, knowing the environment, knowing the contemporary state of the sciences, to be able to help the scholars of the text to produce something which is the right answer for our time.
Okay, I'll be coming back to you to deal more specifically with that in a follow-up show, but for this moment, well, I'll take a break, and then we'll come back and talk to you about the rights of women, because in the talk you gave there at the U of T building, nothing cheered the crowd more than your statements regarding women. So we'll find out whether positive or negative what those are. We'll take a break, folks, and we'll come back and deal with the rights of women in Islam.